Hello everyone and welcome to my The Young and the Restless official channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before we begin, please hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. The Young and the Restless spoilers indicate that Abby Winters could be on the verge of a meltdown against her father, Victor Newman, once she finds out about his Lily Winters kidnapping ploy. Abby has been on edge since her son, Dominic Winters Chancellor, went missing, and while he is home safe and sound now, that doesn't mean her trauma has subsided. Abby and Devon Hamilton Winters were living every parent's nightmare about a week or so ago when they realized that their son had not only been kidnapped, but the perpetrator was none other than a close friend, Mariah Copeland. There's a very good chance that Abby finds out that during this horror, Victor made things worse by keeping Devon's sister Lily away from the family. Lily is off the grid right now, along with her adult twins, Matty Ashby and Charlie Ashby. Devon tried to get a hold of her when Dominic had gone missing, but couldn't reach his sister. Devon and Abby figured she was having an unplugged getaway, away from all the Genoa City drama. However, during the Friday, February 20th show, Devon and his cousin Nate Hastings began to worry. Fans know that Victor is behind Lily's disappearance, and while Lily is in on this plan, Victor hasn't kept Abby and Devon in the loop. Despite telling the rest of the Newman clan, he hoped to dangle Lily and the kids' safety so that Kane Ashby would relinquish Newman Enterprises. It remains to be seen if he'll be successful in this endeavor. Still, during the Young and the Restless preview for the week of February 23-27, there's a video clip between Abby, Nate and Devon as the two cousins decide to follow a lead on Lily's whereabouts. Devon, Nate and Abby may worry a little about Lily's MIA status before Kane or potentially Daniel Romolotti informs them of what's going on. Heck, Phyllis Summers may even spill the beans if she's pushed to the edge, as Victor and the rest of the Newmans are going hard against her. Once Abby finds out about Victor's plan, she could fly into a rage. Overall, Abby is constantly left out of the Newman family loop, so the plan he had going on with Lily while her son was missing no less could be the straw that breaks the camel's back. Could Abby disown her father and the rest of the Newman family? This may feel like the ultimate betrayal, especially since Devon and Nate are concerned over their loved ones off the cusp of Dominic's kidnapping. The Young and the Restless spoilers reveal that Victor may end up getting Newman Enterprises back, but losing the love of one of his children, so how will he deal with the fallout from this all? The storm has been quietly building inside Abby Winters and now it's dangerously close to breaking. On The Young and the Restless, the aftershocks of one nightmare have barely settled before a far deeper betrayal threatens to rip a family apart from the inside out. Abby stands on the edge of emotional collapse, and the man who may push her over that edge is her own father, Victor Newman. For weeks, Abby has been living in a constant state of fear. Even though her infant son, Dominic Winters Chancellor, is finally home safe, warm and back in her arms, the trauma hasn't loosened its grip. A mother doesn't simply recover from the moment she realizes her child has vanished without a trace. That kind of terror settles deep in the bones. It lingers in the quiet moments. It steals sleep. It turns every breath into a silent prayer that the worst won't happen again. And the nightmare Abby shared with Devon Hamilton Winters was far worse than anyone could have imagined. Not only had their son been kidnapped, but the person responsible was someone they trusted completely, Mariah Copeland. A friend, a confidante, someone who had been welcomed into their lives. That betrayal alone nearly shattered Abby and Devon beyond repair. While they were desperately searching for their missing child, winged minute by minute in pure agony, another truth was unfolding behind the scenes. A truth that may end up hurting Abby even more. During the chaos, Devon tried repeatedly to reach his sister, Lily Winters. His calls went unanswered. His messages were met with silence. At the time, Devon and Abby convinced themselves there was an innocent explanation that Lily was simply off the grid. enjoying a peaceful escape from the endless drama of Genoa City with her children, Matty Ashby and Charlie Ashby. But unease began to creep in. By the Friday, February 20th episode, that uneasy feeling grew heavier, especially for Devon and his cousin Nate Hastings. Something didn't feel right. Lily had vanished too completely. And when people disappear in Genoa City, it's rarely accidental. What Abby doesn't know yet, but soon may, is that Lily's disappearance wasn't random at all. Behind closed doors, Victor Newman was pulling strings once again. Fans are already aware of the truth. Victor orchestrated Lily's time off the grid. And while Lily herself agreed to the plan, the real betrayal lies in who was kept in the dark. Victor informed the rest of the Newman family, but not Abby. Not Devon, not the parents who were already drowning in fear while their baby was missing. Victor's motive was cold, calculated, and ruthless. He intended to use Lily and the safety of her children as leverage to pressure Kane Ashby into surrendering Newman Enterprises. Whether that plan ultimately succeeds remains to be seen. But the emotional damage may already be irreversible. In the preview for the week of February 23-27, the tension thickens. Abby, Devon, and Nate are seen together, piecing together fragments of information, chasing down a lead about Lily's whereabouts. Their concern is real, their fear is raw, and they have no idea that the man responsible is standing much closer than they think. It's possible that the truth won't even come from Victor himself. The bombshell could be dropped by Kane or perhaps Daniel Romalotti. And if pressure keeps mounting, Phyllis Summers, already being pushed to her limits by Victor and the Newmans, might be the one to finally spill everything. And when Abby learns the truth, the fallout could be explosive. For Abby, this isn't just another example of Victor's manipulation. This cut is far deeper. While her son was missing, while she was living every parent's worst nightmare, her father was executing a secret power play. One that intentionally kept her in the dark. One that treated Lily and her children like bargaining chips. One that dismissed Abby's pain as collateral damage. Abby has spent her life feeling like an outsider in her own family. Always informed last, always expected to fall in line. But this time, the betrayal may be too much to forgive. This could be the moment everything changes. Could Abby turn her back on Victor forever? Could she sever ties not only with her father, but with the Newman family as a whole? If she does, the loss may be greater than Victor ever anticipated. Because while Victor may succeed in reclaiming Newman Enterprises, the Young and the Restless spoilers suggest he could lose something far more precious, the love and loyalty of one of his own children. And when the dust finally settles, Victor Newman may be left to face the devastating question alone. Was the power worth the price? The truth doesn't arrive gently. It never does when Victor Newman is involved. The moment the final piece clicks into place, the air around Abby Winters seems to disappear. What began as a gnawing suspicion hardens into something undeniable, something devastating. Lily didn't simply go off the grid. She was placed there, hidden, used, and the architect behind it all is the man Abby has spent her entire life trying to believe in. Her father. The revelation spreads through her like ice water. Every sleepless night, every panicked breath she took while Dominic was missing, every moment she leaned on family, believing, hoping they were standing with her. All of it now feels tainted, because while Abby was breaking, Victor was strategizing. The weight of that betrayal is suffocating. Across town, Devon Hamilton Winters feels it too. The crushing realization that while he was frantic with fear for his son, his own sister Lily Winters was being deliberately kept out of reach. Devon's anger burned slow but deep. Lily and her children Matty and Charlie weren't protected out of love. They were protected as leverage. And standing beside Devon is Nate Hastings, whose concern sharpens into fury. This isn't just another Newman scheme. This crossed a line no one should ever cross, especially not when a child's life was hanging in the balance. As the truth spreads, the silence from Victor becomes deafening. Abby doesn't scream at first. She goes quiet, dangerously quiet. Her memories rewind without mercy. Every time she was excluded, dismissed, expected to accept that this was just how Victor operates. But this time the cost was her peace, her sanity, her sense of safety as a mother. When she finally confronts him, the room feels charged like a storm waiting to strike. Victor tries to justify it. He always does. He talks about business, about necessity, about protecting the family, his version of protection. He insists Lily agreed that no one was ever truly in danger, that the ends will justify the means once Newman Enterprises is safely back where it belongs. But Abby isn't listening anymore, because none of that explains why she was left in the dark while her baby was missing. None of that explains why her pain was acceptable collateral. None of that explains why her father once again chose power over people. Her voice shakes when she finally speaks, not with weakness, but with heartbreak that's hardened into resolve. She tells Victor that this wasn't strategy, it was cruelty, and worse, it was betrayal. For the first time, Victor sees something he can't control. Distance. Abby doesn't threaten, she doesn't bargain. She simply tells him she's done. Done being the last to know, done being expected to forgive the unforgivable, done pretending that love and loyalty are interchangeable with obedience. If Victor regains Newman Enterprises, it will not come with her blessing, and it may not come with her presence in his life at all. Elsewhere, Phyllis Summers watches the chaos unfold with sharp, knowing eyes. Pressured from all sides, pushed to her limits by Victor and the Newmans, she comes dangerously close to unleashing everything she knows. One wrong move, one more shove, and she might be the spark that sets the entire situation ablaze. As for Kane Ashby, the question remains unanswered. Will Victor's ruthless gambit work? Will Kane give up control, or will this scheme blow back on Victor in ways even he didn't anticipate? Because power always comes at a cost, and this time the bill is painfully personal. As the week unfolds, the Newman family fractures under the weight of secrets and consequences. Trust erodes, old wounds reopen, and Abby stands at a crossroads that will define her future, not just as a Newman, but as a woman and a mother who refuses to be sacrificed for someone else's ambition. Victor Newman may win the empire, but when he looks around afterward, the victory may feel hollow, because the daughter he's lost may never come back. And in Genoa City, no loss cuts deeper than family. The fallout doesn't slow down, it spreads. In the days that follow, Genoa City feels tighter, heavier, like the walls are closing in on everyone caught in Victor Newman's orbit. Whispers ripple through boardrooms and living rooms alike, but inside the Newman family, the damage is no longer whispered. It's loud, it's raw, and it's irreversible. For Abby Winters, there is no relief after the confrontation, only clarity. She wakes each morning still hearing her own words echo in her head, still seeing the look on her father's face when he realized this time was different. Victor has survived betrayals, coups, and wars far uglier than this, but what he saw in Abby's eyes unsettled him. Not anger alone, not pain alone, something colder, finality. Abby doesn't return his calls. She doesn't show up at Newman family gatherings. She doesn't ask for explanations, apologies, or promises that this time will be different. Instead, she turns inward toward her son, toward her life outside the Newman shadow, toward a future that no longer includes blind loyalty to a man who chose strategy over her sanity. And that distance hurts Victor more than he lets on. Across town, Devon Hamilton Winters is grappling with his own reckoning. The rage he felt initially begins to settle into something deeper, disappointment layered with betrayal. He trusted Victor not as a businessman but as family. And Victor repaid that trust by manipulating Devon's sister during the darkest moment of his life as a parent. When Lily Winters finally resurfaces, the relief is immediate but short-lived. She's safe, Matty and Charlie are safe, but safety doesn't erase what was done. Lily stands in front of Devon knowing she agreed to Victor's plan, knowing she believed she was protecting her children. And yet the guilt is written all over her face when she realizes what her absence did to her brother, how alone he felt while searching for Dominic, how helpless he was when he couldn't reach her. Apologies come easily, forgiveness does not. Devon doesn't lash out. He listens, he absorbs, and then he admits the truth. This never should have happened. Not like this, not at that cost. Nearby, Nate Hastings watches the fractures deepen, understanding all too well how power poisons even the strongest family bonds. He knows Victor will justify this forever. He also knows some wounds don't heal just because the danger has passed. And then there's Phyllis Summers, cornered, pressured, furious. Victor's aggressive tactics against her push her closer to the edge with every passing day. She knows things that could destroy what little stability remains. And while she hasn't pulled the trigger yet, the threat hangs in the air like a loaded gun. One more move from Victor, one more attempt to control the narrative, and Phyllis may decide she has nothing left to lose. Meanwhile, rumors swirl that Victor is closer than ever to reclaiming Newman Enterprises. On paper, it's a victory, but in private moments when the office is empty, when the phone stops ringing, Victor is left with an unfamiliar silence, the kind that can be filled with money, power, or control. Because Abby is gone from his inner circle, and for the first time, Victor Newman can't force his way back in. The question looming over Genoa City isn't whether Victor will win the business war. It's whether the cost has finally become too high. Has he pushed his daughter too far to ever return? Has he shattered trust beyond repair? And when everything is said and done, will the empire mean anything if he stands alone at the top? As the week closes, one truth becomes impossible to ignore. This wasn't just another Newman scheme. This was the moment the family changed forever. And the consequences are only just beginning. The silence surrounding Abby Winters isn't empty anymore. It's intentional. In the days after her break from the Newman fold, Abby makes a decision that doesn't come with an announcement or a dramatic speech. It comes quietly, firmly. She chooses peace, she chooses distance. And most of all, she chooses her son. Life outside the Newman orbit feels unfamiliar at first. There's no constant pressure, no chessboard moves being made behind her back, no looming presence reminding her that loyalty is expected, not earned. It's unsettling, but it's also freeing. For the first time in a long while, Abby breathes. Dominic's laughter fills the room as she rocks him to sleep, and in those moments the world narrows down to what truly matters. She promises him something she was never guaranteed herself, that he will never be used, never be leveraged, never be collateral in someone else's war, and she intends to keep that promise. Meanwhile, across Genoa City, Victor Newman feels the absence like a phantom limb. He moves through his office with the same commanding presence, issues orders with the same authority, negotiates with the same ruthless precision, but something is off. Abby's chair is empty. He tells himself she'll come around. She always does. That's what he's counted on his entire life, that blood outweighs anger, that time smooths over even the deepest wounds. But this time isn't working in his favor, because Abby isn't cooling off. She is moving on. When Victor finally tries again, this time without intermediaries, without strategy, the door doesn't open the way it used to. Abby listens. Calmly, carefully, and when he finishes speaking, she doesn't argue his logic. She rejects it. She tells him that explanations don't heal trauma, that intentions don't erase impact, and that power doesn't excuse cruelty. Her voice doesn't waver as she makes it clear. Until Victor understands that line and truly respects it, there is no way back. Not yet, maybe not ever. Elsewhere, Devon Hamilton Winters is watching the ripple effects unfold. He sees Abby drawing boundaries and recognizes the strength it takes to do so. Inspired by her resolve, he begins to reassess his own relationship with Victor and with Lily. When Lily Winter sits down with Devon again, the conversation is heavier this time. She doesn't defend Victor, she doesn't defend herself. She simply acknowledges the truth. They were all pulled into something bigger than any of them, and the damage is real. Healing, Lily admits, won't come from pretending this was for the best. It will come from accountability. Standing quietly on the sidelines is Nate Hastings, who understands all too well what happens when families ignore the cost of ambition. He warns Devon that some alliances once broken can never be fully restored, and that pretending otherwise only delays the reckoning. And that reckoning is coming fast because whispers are growing louder about Victor's tactics, about Lily's disappearance, about the timing of everything, especially during Dominic's kidnapping. People are starting to connect the dots. Even Phyllis Summers, once cautious, begins to sense the shift. Victor's control over the narrative is slipping, and Phyllis knows that when empires wobble, secrets have a way of surfacing whether anyone wants them to or not. By the end of the week, one thing becomes clear across Genoa City: Victor Newman may still hold the crown, but the kingdom is no longer secure. Abby's choice sends a message louder than any confrontation ever could: love cannot survive without trust. And power, no matter how absolute, cannot force forgiveness. As the camera pulls back on a fractured family and a shaken empire, the question lingers in the air. Will Victor finally change before he loses everything that truly matters? Or has Abby's departure marked the beginning of the end for the Newman dynasty as they know it? The answer is coming, and when it does, nothing in Genoa City will be the same again.